General Vrak Thul had commanded armies across 7 star systems, crushed rebellions on 14 worlds, and never once questioned his authority or his methods. The Carithian military doctrine was simple: discipline through dominance, respect through fear, and absolute obedience through whatever means necessary. The human exchange cadet sitting in his advanced combat leadership course was about to teach him why that philosophy didn't work on Deathworlders. Lieutenant Maria Santos had been assigned to the Galactic Military Academy as part of humanity's cultural integration program. For 3 months, she had endured the Carithian training regimen, brutal physical conditioning, psychological pressure tactics, and what other species politely termed aggressive motivation techniques. She had remained professional, followed orders precisely, and maintained the kind of disciplined silence that her instructors mistook for proper submission. She had also been taking detailed notes on everything that would violate about 47 different articles of the Geneva Convention. The incident began during a tactical exercise review. General Vrak Thul was dissecting the previous day's war games, his massive form pacing before the assembled cadets like a predator marking territory. The Carithians stood 7 feet tall, their chitinous exoskeletons gleaming under the harsh academy lights, their 4 arms ending in claws that could shred steel. The human unit's performance was adequate, Vrak Thul declared, his voice carrying the dismissive tone he reserved for species he considered inferior, though their tactics lack the proper intensity. Maria remained at attention, her expression neutral. Around her, cadets from various species shifted uncomfortably. Everyone knew the general's reviews were rarely just reviews. Cadet Santos, Vrak Thul called, his compound eyes focusing on her with predatory interest. Step forward. Maria moved with precise military bearing, stopping exactly 3 feet from the general's position. Sir, your species claims to be warriors, Vrak Thul said, beginning his familiar ritual of psychological dominance. Yet you show restraint in combat, hesitation, weakness. He leaned closer, his mandibles clicking. Perhaps humans simply lack the killer instinct necessary for true warfare. Permission to speak freely, sir? The question surprised him. Most cadets, regardless of species, had learned to remain silent during his lectures. Granted. Respectfully, sir, humans don't lack killer instinct. We've just learned to control it. Vrak Thul's chitinous plates shifted, the Carithian equivalent of raised eyebrows. Control or fear? Control, sir. There's a difference between choosing not to kill and being unable to kill. The general's mandibles spread in what passed for a smile among his species. Demonstrate this. Control. I'd rather not, sir. That wasn't a request, cadet. The classroom tension was palpable. Every species present understood what was happening. Vrak Thul was establishing dominance through humiliation, a cornerstone of Carithian military culture. What they didn't understand was why the human remained so calm. Sir, I respectfully decline to demonstrate combat techniques in a classroom setting. Vrak Thul's rear arms flexed, a sign of mounting aggression. You will demonstrate, or you will be removed from this program in disgrace. Sir, I must respectfully. The slap came without warning. Vrak Thul's primary right arm swept across Maria's face with enough force to stagger a granite warrior. The sound echoed through the silent classroom like a gunshot. What happened next took exactly 4 seconds. Second 1, Maria's head snapped back from the impact, but her feet never moved. Her right hand came up in a deceptively simple motion, catching Vrak Thul's retreating arm at the wrist. Second 2, her left hand joined the grip, fingers finding precise pressure points that existed on virtually every bipedal species. Second 3, a sharp, controlled twist. The sound of chitinous bone cracking was audible throughout the room. Second 4, Vrak Thul was on his knees, his dominant arm bent at an impossible angle, his compound eyes wide with shock and pain. Maria released her grip and stepped back to attention position, a thin line of blue blood trailing from her split lip. "As I was saying, sir," she said quietly, "humans have learned to control our killer instinct. We choose restraint not from weakness, but from experience. We know what happens when we don't." The silence in the classroom was absolute. General Vrakthul, one of the most feared military commanders in the galaxy, remained on his knees, clutching his shattered wrist. "Medical assistance is recommended for compound fractures, sir," Maria added helpfully. "Shall I call the medics?" The incident report filed later that day was brief. Cultural misunderstanding resolved through practical demonstration. Human Cadet showed admirable restraint given circumstances. Recommend revision of current disciplinary protocols. General Vrakthul spent 6 weeks in medical reconstruction. When he returned, his first official act was to formally apologize to Cadet Santos and request that she assist in developing new training protocols. His second act was to ensure that every instructor in the academy understood the difference between discipline and assault. His third was to add a new entry to the official academy handbook. Physical contact with human personnel requires written authorization and medical supervision.